Have you ever asked yourself, if one day you acted as the best, strongest version of yourself, how would life change? Would you walk with the posture of someone insecure, or with the confidence of a warrior? Would you allow the world to decide your mood? Or would you be the one holding the key to serenity? People are often like leaves in the wind. A light breeze is enough to carry them away, and a small noise is enough to make them tremble. We are easily swayed by public opinion, easily hurt by a careless word, easily defeated by a fleeting challenge. We are quick to anger, quick to lose heart, quick to give up. But does it really have to be this way? Or have we simply forgotten that within each of us exists a quiet strength, an inner power that can be steadfast like stone, burning like fire, and unmoving like a mountain? The Stoics once compared life to the vast sea. Storms are inevitable. You can choose to be a fragile boat, shattered by each wave. But you can also choose to be a proud rock, standing firm no matter how fiercely the waves crash. You can be a weak flame, easily extinguished by the wind. But you can also be a resilient fire, one that burns even brighter the harder it is blown upon. In that contrast, we see clearly the difference does not lie in circumstances, but in the way a person chooses to respond. What separates the ordinary from the exceptional? Not status, not luck, not the glow of outward glory. It is the way they hold firm in the face of adversity. Stoic philosophy does not teach us to boast, nor does it call us to seek recognition from others. It teaches us to act as if we are already the best version of ourselves, as if we are already living with our strongest selves. Not to prove it to the world, but to train the mind, to build inner freedom, to stand firm against life's storms. And today, we will explore together 5 Stoic principles, 5 solid pillars to help you act as though you are already your best self. Mastering emotions instead of being ruled by them, living by values instead of chasing approval, preparing for adversity like a warrior, maintaining discipline as the foundation of greatness, and standing steadfast like stone in the midst of a storm. These are not just dry philosophical doctrines. They are a compass to harden your spirit, to nurture tranquility, and to affirm your true worth in any circumstance. Rule 1. Master your emotions. Don't let them master you. In everyday life, perhaps more than once, you have experienced this. A careless remark from a colleague leaves you irritated for half a day. An unfriendly glance dampens your spirit, or a small injustice keeps your mind restless for many sleepless nights. We often say it is others who make us suffer, that it is they who cause our anger or pain. But the truth, as the Stoics once pointed out, is this: no one can master your emotions unless you yourself allow them to do so. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If you are offended, remember that it is you who have permitted it to hurt you." This simple yet profound statement reminds us of one truth: offense or hurt only exists if we accept it. If we choose serenity, then those words remain nothing more than passing sounds. But if we allow them to touch our pride, they become daggers piercing straight into our minds. Mastering emotions does not mean denying or pretending that we feel nothing. On the contrary, it is the recognition that we can still feel anger, sadness, or disappointment, but we do not allow those emotions to dictate our actions. The Stoics believed that emotions are natural reactions, but actions must come from reason. A truly skilled person has never lost their temper, but one who knows to pause before anger turns into a mistake. Imagine you are driving on a crowded road. Another car suddenly cuts in front of you, forcing you to brake hard. In that moment, irritation flares up, your heart pounds, and your mind instantly rushes to insults. But if you let yourself be swept away by that emotion, you may honk aggressively, shout at the other driver, or even cause a more dangerous collision. Yet if you choose to master your emotions, you will take a deep breath, remind yourself that reckless action helps nothing. The road goes on, and so do you. Mastering emotions also means not softening in the face of hardship. Life is full of challenges. Every failure, every stumble, every rejection can discourage us. But if each time we meet difficulty, we quickly surrender, how can we ever grow? The Stoics saw hardship as an exercise sent by fate to train resilience. If one day you must work in a high-pressure environment, face criticism, or even lose a precious opportunity, that is not the end. It is the chance to prove that you can rise again steadfast and serene. Epictetus, once a slave, is living proof of this truth. He did not allow harsh circumstances to turn him into a man of resentment. On the contrary, he transformed adversity into a lesson, treating it as fire that tests gold. Because he did not soften before fate, Epictetus became a great philosopher, leaving humanity timeless teachings. At work, many people easily let emotions take over. A difficult client may ruin their entire day. A tactless remark from a boss may strip away motivation. But those who master their emotions are different. They understand that their worth does not lie in the praise or criticism of others. They separate their actions from the fleeting emotions of those around them. They focus on what they can control: their work, their attitude, and their consistency in personal values. In the family, mastering emotions becomes even more crucial. An uncontrolled burst of anger can destroy a long-standing relationship. A harsh word spoken in a moment of rage can leave wounds that never heal. But when we know to restrain ourselves, when we dare to pause before words escape, we preserve peace not only for ourselves but also for our loved ones. Mastering emotions is also a journey. No one can reach perfection immediately. It is a process of daily training, beginning with small acts. A deep breath when tense, a smile instead of a complaint, a pause instead of an argument. Each small act is a brick laid in the foundation of a steady soul. The Stoics often reminded us, imagine wearing noise-cancelling headphones while walking, and through a noisy city. The honking, the quarrels, the clamor still exist, but they no longer penetrate you. Mastering emotions is just like that. The world remains noisy, chaotic, but you keep a quiet space within. Mastering emotions not only allows you to live more peacefully, but also makes you stronger. When others see that you are not easily provoked, they begin to respect you. When you do not let hardships break you, you become an example for others to follow. And when you learn to stand firm in the storm, you realize one thing: storms were never the enemy, they were always the teacher of resilience. Therefore, the very first rule to act as though you are already your best self is this: master your emotions. Do not hand over control of your mood to anyone. Do not let anger dictate your actions. And do not soften in the face of hardship, for each challenge is an invitation for you to become a stronger version of yourself. A truly great person has never fallen, but one who knows how to rise again with serenity and pride in their eyes. Rule 2. Live by values, not by recognition. Deep down, human beings always crave acknowledgement. A single word of praise can uplift us for an entire day, and a nod of approval can make us feel more worthy. But for that very reason, just one frown, one criticism, or even indifferent silence is enough to drag us into the depths of self-doubt. We too easily hand over the power to define our worth to others, and in doing so, we become prisoners of glances, comments, and applause from the outside world. The Stoics viewed this truth through a different light. They taught that true worth does not come from applause, but from living in accordance with principles, living by what you believe is right. Epictetus once emphasized, "If you seek recognition, you will become a slave to others. But if you live by values, you will find freedom." That is freedom not dependent on anyone, freedom unshaken by the shifting winds of public opinion. Picture an artist standing on stage. If he plays only to hear the applause, then every note he strikes is dictated by the audience. When the crowd is pleased, he feels elated. When they grow bored, he feels crushed. But if he plays out of love for music, out of the truth within his own soul, then every note will resound fully, regardless of external reactions. That is the difference between living to please others and living to remain true to one's own values. In today's world, we are easily pulled into the whirlpool of recognition. Social media makes this clearer than ever. A photo, a status, a video, all can be measured by likes, comments, and shares. We are tempted to believe that the more engagement we receive, the more valuable we are. But that is a trap. One day, when the numbers drop, when attention shifts to someone else, will you still feel worthy? The Stoics would say, live as if you require no recognition except from your own conscience. Do what is right because it is right, not because someone claps for you. Remember that today's praise can turn into tomorrow's criticism. The world always changes, opinion always shifts, but true values remain unshakably firm. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor who held the power of the Roman Empire in his hands, wrote in Meditations, "Do not waste time thinking about what others say or think. Focus only on whether you are acting according to your nature and your duty." These words came from a man who received countless praises and just as many attacks. Instead of chasing public opinion, he chose to live with the responsibility of a ruler, a human being. He asked himself, is this action aligned with reason, with virtue? Not, what will people think of me? In daily life, the difference between living by values and chasing recognition is clearer than we think. A person who works only for rewards will soon grow weary when the reward does not arrive. But one who works with dedication and responsibility will find satisfaction even when no one notices. A person who lives only for compliments will easily change their stance to please others. But one who lives by principle will hold firm to their beliefs, even in the face of opposition. We need to learn to ask ourselves, is this right? Instead of, what will people think? The first question leads us to steadiness. The second leads us to endless worry. And when we act according to values, we not only liberate ourselves, but we also become a source of inspiration for others. People around us may not always agree, but they will sense your authenticity, your steadfastness, and in time, they will respect you more deeply. Living by values does not mean being indifferent to everyone else. It means knowing clearly what is the unchanging foundation and what is merely dust on the surface. You can listen to advice, you can accept feedback, but in the end, you act according to your inner compass. That is what it means to live with values. And when you act in this way, you are truly living as though you are already your best self. Without praise, without applause, you still stand firm. Because true worth does not lie in the eyes of others, but in the choices you make each day. Therefore, the second Stoic rule is this: live by values, do not chase recognition. Recognition may change with every season's wind, but values never fade. And when you remain loyal to your values, you will discover a new kind of freedom, the freedom that no praise or criticism can ever take away. Rule 3. Prepare for adversity. Like a warrior, life has never promised to be easy. There will be days when you wake up and everything seems to turn against you. Unexpected bad news, a door of opportunity closing, a friend turning their back, or an illness striking without warning. Many people, when facing adversity, fall into despair, believing it to be unfair, something they should not have to endure. But to the Stoics, adversity is not a tragedy. It is an inevitable part of life, a fire to test gold, a stairway to strengthen the will. Seneca once wrote, "No man is brave who has never faced adversity." A person who lives forever in comfort will never know their true strength. Only when pushed into darkness do we discover how powerful the light within us can be. That is why the Stoics did not wait until hardship arrived to practice endurance. They trained themselves in advance, preparing for misfortune as a warrior trains daily, so that when the real battle comes, they are neither surprised nor defeated. Stoic philosophy calls this voluntary hardship. Seneca often chose days of simplicity, eating coarse bread, wearing rough clothes, sleeping on the hard ground, not because he was poor, but because he wanted his mind accustomed to scarcity. Then, if fate ever forced him into deprivation, he could smile and say, "I have already prepared for this." Marcus Aurelius, even as emperor, did not indulge in extravagance. He reminded himself daily that power, wealth, and fame are fragile. Only one thing truly endures: a mind trained to stand firm amid all change. Imagine you are a warrior about to enter battle. You would not wait until the enemy appears to pick up your sword. You would practice every strike, every step, every breath, so that on the battlefield, your body reacts naturally. The Stoics prepared for adversity in the same way. They treated each day as practice, every small discomfort as an opportunity for training. When the weather was harsh, they did not complain but saw it as a test of patience. When work was overwhelming, they did not resent it, but used it to sharpen discipline. When insulted, they did not explode in rage, but took it as practice in calmness. In the modern world, preparing for adversity can take many simple yet powerful forms. Some begin their day with a cold shower, training their spirit to endure discomfort. Some exercise each morning, refusing to let the body grow lazy and weak. Some choose a simple diet, reminding themselves that simplicity is enough. All of these are modern versions of the Stoic spirit, voluntarily stepping into hardship to harden resilience instead of avoiding it. When we are unprepared, adversity often strikes as a shock. A failure at work may leave us disoriented. A rejection may convince us we are worthless. An unexpected debt may rob us of sleep. But when we have already practiced living with scarcity, with failure, with rejection, adversity becomes no more than a strong wind, not a storm that sweeps everything away. As Seneca said, "He who has prepared his mind will never be surprised by fortune." Look at athletes. They train harshly every day, not because they enjoy pain, but because they know only through grueling practice can they stand firm when the real competition begins. So it is with life. The Stoics deliberately chose small hardships as training, so that when great hardships came, they no longer felt fear. Preparing for adversity is not only physical training, but more importantly, mental training. The Stoics often imagined the worst that could happen, a practice called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. They envisioned, tomorrow I may lose money, lose friends, lose honor, even lose my life, not to be pessimistic, but to remind themselves, everything can leave us at any moment. And when it truly did, they were not shaken, for their minds had already gone there first. Many think dwelling on the worst is negative, but in truth, it is positive preparation. When you are ready for the worst, you no longer fear it. You know that whatever comes, you can endure and overcome it. And that serenity is true strength. A warrior is not someone who never feels fear. A warrior is someone who knows fear, yet stands firm because he has prepared. The Stoics were the same. They did not deny emotions or deny pain, but they trained so that when pain arrived, they could say, "I have been expecting you." Therefore, the third Stoic rule is this: prepare for adversity like a warrior. Do not hope life will always be gentle, for storms are inevitable. Voluntarily step into small challenges to build toughness. Envision loss to build serenity. And remember, adversity does not come to destroy you. It comes to reveal the strength that was within you all along. Rule 4. Discipline, the foundation of greatness. Among all the virtues that Stoic philosophy upholds, there is one quiet yet enduring force that determines the success or failure of a person: discipline. People often think that great figures became great because of innate talent, special opportunities, or sheer luck. But if we look closely, behind every great achievement lies discipline. Discipline in thought, discipline in action, and discipline in the smallest daily habits of life. Epictetus, a poor slave, would never have risen above his lowly station if he had relied only on circumstance. But it was through discipline, discipline in training his mind, discipline in keeping promises to himself, that he became a philosopher admired by the world. He once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Mastery of self here means discipline, the ability to control desires, to resist temptations, to act rightly even when no one is watching. Discipline is the foundation because it transforms potential into reality. Many have dreams and talent, but without discipline, they never reach success. Conversely, some may be neither exceptional nor gifted, but through persistence and discipline, they surpass even the most talented. Like a seed, no matter how good, if not tended regularly, it withers. But even an ordinary seed, when nurtured with daily discipline, can grow into a strong tree. In life, discipline manifests in many forms. Discipline in time, discipline in habits, discipline in speech, discipline in action. The Stoics did not believe in sudden bursts of inspiration. They believed in steady repetition. A little each day, a step at a time, gradually becomes great strength. A person who wakes up early and spends a few minutes in silent reflection, that is discipline. A person who refuses to join in meaningless quarrels, that is discipline. A person who chooses to focus on useful work instead of indulging in fleeting pleasures, that too is discipline. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself, "Do not let today pass without being better than yesterday." This reminder is the essence of discipline. You need not achieve something grand immediately, only take a step forward, however small, from who you were yesterday. And when you maintain that progress daily, you walk the path of greatness. In today's society, where everything encourages comfort, discipline becomes even more precious. We are surrounded by temptations, endless hours of scrolling, instant entertainment, and conveniences that lure us into procrastination. The undisciplined are easily swept away, losing time and strength. The disciplined are different. They know what they need. They manage their time, and they stay on course even without supervision. Think of a musician practicing for hours each day, even if no one is listening. Think of an athlete training relentlessly, though the stadium is empty. Think of a writer patiently crafting page after page, even when no reader yet knows his name. All of these are expressions of discipline, and it is discipline that leads them to the day of glory, when others see only the success. But few know of the long, silent years behind it. The Stoics taught an important truth: discipline is freedom. At first, this seems contradictory, but the more we live, the more we see it is true. When you are disciplined with yourself, you are no longer a slave to desires. When disciplined at work, you are not crushed by the pressure of time. When disciplined in thought, you are not easily carried away by impulsive emotions. The disciplined are the truly free, for they master themselves. Discipline not only leads to success but also preserves dignity. The undisciplined easily give in, easily fall prey to temptation, and easily lose themselves when tested. The disciplined remain steady in all circumstances, never ruled by instinct. This is the mark of the strong, the kind of person others cannot help but respect. Therefore, if you wish to act as though you are already your best self, begin with discipline. Do not expect inspiration to always arrive. Do not rely on luck. Do not make excuses about circumstances. Practice discipline in the smallest things. Wake up on time. Finish what you start. Keep your word. Speak less and do more. These small acts are the stones that build the great fortress of your life. The fourth Stoic rule reminds us, discipline is the foundation of greatness. Without discipline, talent is nothing more than an ungerminated seed. With discipline, even the ordinary can become extraordinary. And when you train discipline each day, you will discover your true strength. The strength of one who masters himself, directs his own life, and walks firmly on the path of growth. Rule 5. Stand steadfast like stone amid the storm. In a world full of upheaval, where everything can change in the blink of an eye, steadfastness becomes a rare strength. Wealth may be lost, fame may fade, friends may depart, even health may decline. But if you hold steadfastness within your soul, then no matter how fierce the storm, you will stand firm. Like a rock unmoved in the rushing torrent, the Stoics saw steadfastness as the foundation for maintaining dignity and character. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, endured wars, plagues, betrayal, and political intrigues. He could have chosen anger, complaint, or resignation. But instead of letting adversity sweep him away, he chose to write meditations, pages of philosophical reflections, to remind himself to live with reason and virtue. Amid the chaos of the court, he remained steadfast, keeping his composure to govern a vast empire. That is the clearest proof of the power of steadfastness. Steadfastness does not mean rigidity, nor does it mean stubbornness. It is not clinging to one's opinions in every situation, but rather the ability to hold firm to core principles despite external turbulence. The Stoics could change methods, they could adapt to circumstances, but they never abandoned character. They were like the pine tree in the storm. Its branches may sway, but its trunk stands strong. In modern life, you can see how many people are swept away by public opinion. A rumor online can worry them for weeks. A hasty criticism can shake their self-belief. A small failure may be enough for them to give up and seek a quick escape. But the steadfast are different. They know that public opinion shifts daily, that praise and blame are only passing winds. They focus instead on what endures: values, discipline, and integrity. Picture yourself rowing a small boat in the open sea. The winds are strong, the waves high, the boat fragile. If your mind wavers with every swell, you will quickly tire and lose in direction. But if you remain steadfast, you will know that storms always pass, that your task is not to stop the waves, but to keep a firm grip on the oar so your boat does not break. That is the Stoic spirit. Steadfastness also creates a unique effect. It becomes an anchor for others. When a father is steadfast in the family, his children feel secure. When a leader is steadfast at work, the team finds confidence. When a friend is steadfast in friendship, the bond becomes unshakable. Human beings are fragile in the face of change. So when they encounter someone who stands firm, they immediately find comfort and strength. That is how one individual can spread positive influence to an entire community. The Stoics cultivated steadfastness not with lofty theory, but by reminding themselves daily, everything can be lost, only our response remains. Epictetus emphasized, "Do not seek for things to happen as you wish, but wish for things to happen as they do." This is steadfastness in accepting reality. No complaints, no resentment, only focusing on doing one's best within one's control. In work, steadfastness keeps you from giving up midway. Even when projects falter, colleagues misunderstand, or results are delayed, you hold faith in your direction. In relationships, steadfastness keeps you from letting go. At the first conflict, you seek resolution with patience. On your personal journey, steadfastness keeps you from being lured away by fleeting temptations from your long-term path. Steadfastness is also a form of self-respect. When you choose a path, you honor yourself by walking it to the end, rather than turning aside at the first difficulty. When you make a promise, you honor yourself by keeping it, whether others remember it or not. Steadfastness is proof that you value your own integrity, that you refuse to let the outside world dictate your character. Therefore, the fifth Stoic rule is this: stand steadfast like stone amid the storm. Storms are inevitable, but whether you collapse or endure is your choice. Remember, a steadfast mind not only preserves your peace, it also becomes a light for those around you. And when you learn to stand firm in the tempest, you are truly acting as though you are already your best self. Not because you are stronger than others, but because you are stronger than who you were yesterday. Conclusion. Act as though you are already your best self. As we walk through the 5 Stoic principles, we come to realize a simple yet profound truth. Acting as though you are your best self is not about boasting or seeking recognition. It is an invitation to live with courage, with discipline, with serenity, and with steadfastness. In a world full of upheaval, the strongest person is not the loudest one, but the one who keeps calm amid chaos. Not the one who wields external power, but the one who masters the self within. Let us recall those 5 principles. First, you learn to master your emotions so that no one controls your mood but you, and so that you do not weaken before hardship, but treat it as training for resilience. Second, you live by values rather than chase the fragile approval of others, staying true to yourself, unbound by praise or criticism. Third, you prepare for adversity like a warrior, voluntarily entering small trials so that great upheavals do not crush you. Fourth, you cultivate discipline, the foundation that transforms potential into reality, moving forward each day beyond who you were yesterday. And finally, you hold steadfast like stone amid the storm, standing firm against public opinion, against change, against temptations that so easily throw people off course. These 5 rules may seem separate, but in truth, they connect, like 5 pillars supporting a temple. Remove one, and the temple wavers. Strengthen them all, and you will discover a sanctuary within a temple of peace no storm can ever destroy. The Stoics never taught us to become superhuman. They taught us how to be truly human. A person who knows they will fail, yet keeps moving forward. Who knows they will lose, yet cherishes what they have. Who knows they cannot control everything, yet still does their best in what they can control. And that, indeed, is true strength. Picture a day when you wake and look in the mirror. You see not a perfect person, but a strong one. A person who needs no praise to live, no favorable circumstances to endure, no blessing of fate to move ahead. A person who has chosen to act as though they are already their best self, not because they are greater than anyone else, but because they are greater than who they were yesterday. And that is the greatest gift Stoic philosophy offers us: inner freedom. Freedom from the grip of impulsive emotions, freedom from the chains of public opinion, freedom from the fear of adversity, freedom from the weakness within. When you possess that freedom, then and only then you truly live, truly grow strong, and truly find happiness. So from this day forward, remember, you do not need to wait until the world declares you the best. Act as though you already are, for that is the only way to become the best version of yourself.